really blushing after all of that. That's amazing. Ariele, Beth, I love you both so much. And what a lesson too that we have in the story with Ariele and I. It all worked out the way it was supposed to, but I learned a really good lesson there, and I'll pass that along just so you know, and I've shared it before, but I'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to let you know, Beth, when I came in a little bit on your talk about positivity and all of that through this transition, I needed to hear that too. You know, this morning I was on a little bit late. I don't know if Ariele told you guys, but I was on hold with customer service for most of the morning waiting, and they answered at 10:15, which was like 15 minutes before the call. And I'm like racing through these issues that I have to cover. And my mom is a jewel, and one of the issues was through her team. So I said, can I call my mom on three-way and let her just hand over so that I can get on my call? And so, you know, we're all in this together. It's not going to last forever. This is nothing compared to October of 2015. We got this. This is nothing. We got it. So I can already see that things are going to be better, and we have the control for it to be better. That back then we could not, we couldn't react and get things changed like we can now. So be encouraged, and I'm encouraged. And like, let's see, I think it was Nikki Hinkle I saw on a thread. She was saying, you guys, back then in October, that showed me specifically how desperate people are for our products. Like, they're desperate for them. They're going to go through that, an apocalypse of sorts, to get their products. And so this is nothing compared to that. And people still, just even the little bit that we are experiencing now, showing me how much people need their Plexus products. So remember, so whenever you're thinking of, like, whenever Beth was talking about be thankful, be grateful, look at the bright side. The bright side is we have something that people are desperate for. If we were going through this and selling something that didn't really matter, we'd be done for. But we have things that people are desperate for, and you get to bring those to them. And all of this that we're trying to we're going through, it's not gonna last forever. And so I'm encouraged. But Beth, thank you for that word of encouragement. I needed it too after being on hold all morning as well. I'm being like, oh my gosh, I gotta hurry. So and thanks for allowing me to come on a few minutes late. But well, I want to share a little bit. I see some familiar faces, and I see some definitely a lot of familiar names. But for those of you who haven't heard, I'm kind of scrolling through around here just to kind of see again who all's on. For those of you who haven't heard my story, I would love to just share a little bit about my journey with you. When Plexus came into my life, I was desperate for two things. This was back in May of 2012. I was desperate to lose the last bit of baby weight, and I was desperate to be a stay-at-home mama. It was breaking my heart that somebody else got more time with my baby than I did, and that wasn't okay with me. But when Plexus came across my newsfeed, I was stiff-armed to the business for just reasons. I didn't want to be that girl. I didn't want to host parties. I didn't want to be away from my family at night. But I was really excited about the products. So I joined for wholesale. My husband's like, hey, if you're going to take these long term, then you're going to have to make enough to cover the cost of them. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll cross that bridge whenever I get there. They're probably not going to work anyways. But 3 weeks in, I had lost 10 pounds, and I knew I was onto something, and I knew I had to start sharing. And terrified, I started sharing. But like I said, I stiff-armed the business. I wasn't really interested. But when I started sharing in the middle of June of 2012, that's kind of when, and that's when Celeste came on as my customer and started referring some of her friends, and Ariele was one of them. And I'll get to that whole lesson in a minute, a lesson that I learned through that process. But Celeste was my customer. She sent me her sister-in-law, Haley. She sent me Ariele. She sent me Rainey Spalding. And I was building a customer base pretty quickly through just starting to share middle of June. So when middle of July came around, I and I got a first paycheck and it was just about $500. That's when everything changed for us. And the light bulb went on. We were like, this is going to be it. We had stiff-armed it, but we now see that this is going to be the way I'm a stay-at-home mom. And I was all in at that point. So really middle of July is whenever I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. No clue, never done network marketing, never wanted to do network marketing, but I'm all in because I want to be a stay-at-home mama. So my husband's like, if you can make that consistently, if you can make $1,000 a month consistently, then you can walk away from your job. Okay. So about 4 months in, I was doing that, but I waited till January to quit my job, got through the holidays and everything and a project at work. And I was working for an oil and gas company in their, we're doing stuff with process improvement at the time, but in their regulatory department, I was doing a lot of paper administrative. I mean, it was a glorified administrative assistant, basically. So I walked away from my job in January of 2013. And just to kind of fast forward you through some of the milestones of my journey through there was January 2014, we paid off $50,000 of student loans. Both Cody, my husband, and I, as student loans. So that was the milestone. In 1 year, I went from quitting my job and then paying off $50,000 in one check in one payment like that. That's how much the business was growing for us. And then fast forward another year, another milestone. Cody, my husband, could see he had a great job, but he could see that this is where our legacy was going to be. That our time and energy and passion and emotion was going to be best spent where we could both focus on our children and this business. So this is where our legacy was going to come from, is through our children and this business. So he walked away from that job so that we could work it together and he could help me with our kids. When I started Plexus, I only had one. Now there's three. We have three kiddos now, 6, 4, and 22 months, which will be 22 months next week. And then, that was February of 2015 that he walked away from his job. And now the double diamond, I don't know. I mean, it's been a crazy, incredibly blessed journey. We are so thankful, and the fun and the perks. And I don't know if you guys saw this European Disney cruise that Plexus gave my family for being double diamond, and all of that is so incredible, and we're so thankful. But it's still like, you could take all of that away, and the fact that we have the freedom to be stay-at-home parents, we have that time freedom to own our schedules, and that I get a part in so many of thousands upon thousands of people's life-changing stories. I mean, some of yours, I get a part of that. It's just so fulfilling. You take away all that stuff and the time freedom and that piece, and that we're able to give. Those are the things that I love the most about this entire Plexus journey and the incredible blessing that has been to my family. So that's my story, not so much in a nutshell. I didn't expect to get a little teary there because I share it so often. It just kind of doesn't happen, but it came today. I don't know. Maybe the back office being on hold has me a little extra emotional this morning. But sorry, excuse me. I'm kind of a sore throat. So anyhow. Okay, well, I want to, because I said it and I'll forget it if I don't give it to you now, the lesson that I learned with having Celeste as my customer, and then Ariele, Rainey Spalding, and her sister-in-law, and I think there may be others, but those are the ones I'm remembering off the top of my head. I made some assumptions about Celeste's friends, that I knew that the kind of life Celeste led. I knew that she was a stay-at-home mom. I knew that she didn't really need the money. So I assumed that her friends, they wouldn't be interested in this business. So why even ask them about it? And, but they were interested in this business. Obviously, they were interested in this business. And Rainey was a soon-to-be single mom. She was desperate for this business. And like I said, it all worked out the way it was supposed to be. And now I wouldn't change it. But I did learn a lesson that you never know what people need. And if someone loves these products, don't assume that they're not going to be interested in this business because they don't need the money or they don't have time. You don't know what they're going through. So that was the lesson I learned, and I'm passing that lesson on to you guys right now. So, okay, I have a little bit of notes of things I want to kind of cover with you today. And how much time do you guys have for these calls? I want to respect your time.
You can talk as long as you want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't really want that because I'm a rambler, but I'll try to get us. I'll try to keep on schedule here. But the first thing I kind of want to talk to you about is follow up, and I'm going to go into a little bit some tips on follow up. But specifically, I want to talk about follow up now is because today is the last day of this $25 off promotion. So this should be like high intensity follow up today on the promotion. And I'm sure you probably have already been there and you've been doing that, but I'm going to give you beyond just today, what are some tips on follow up? One of the questions I get asked all the time is how often do you follow up? And I say, this is what I do. And to me, it often depends on the relationship. Some relationships can withstand more frequent follow up where you don't seem bothersome. Okay. Some relationships, maybe newer relationships, you haven't had time to kind of build a really solid, trusting relationship. Maybe not quite so frequent, but in general, I'm a once a week, every other week, or possibly for prospects, kind of follow up. And maybe if you just kind of met them and you really don't know, maybe once a month. So just depending on that relationship, you don't want to make them, you want to have a foundation before you feel like you're bothersome. But I'm going to give you some tips to try to, where you aren't being bothersome and they won't see you as being bothersome. And that's what I want to, one of the things I want to share with you today. So that's my sort of my tips on frequency though, is just really looking at the relationship and what's the frequency of follow-up that this relationship can withstand without them being like, oh my gosh, leave me alone. Like seriously, leave me alone. You don't want to do that to people. So, the overall theme of the tips I want to give you is that you add value, that when you follow up, when you have a touch on someone, that you're adding value to them. You have something, you have important information to share. You have some educational things that they may be interested, testimonies. So, sharing, if you know that they, want to get off their anti-anxiety medication, then you might, in adding value, share testimonies, share an article that's going to link gut health to brain health. You might share specific reasons about what sets ProBio 5 apart. You might share some information about Vital Biome, that it has strains of probiotics that are proven to reduce anxiety and stress. You are targeting their heart and providing value. Okay. And the testimonies are really effective. So it's going to take you some time necessarily. Sometimes you think, oh, I can slam through like 10 follow-ups in like 5 minutes. Hey, just checking in with you. You can do that, but if you put a little extra time and effort into into your follow-up to really connect to them, then that is when I do that, that's how I do it, because I don't feel bothersome. I'm offering value to you, and they won't feel like you're bothering them. That what it's going to tell. Well, how am I trying to say that? What it's going to tell them about you is that you really care, that you're genuinely interested in helping them with their health, or helping them with their finances, or whatever it is they've got going in their life, that you genuinely want to add value to their life. When we do have company specials, that's always adding value, new information. Hey, you've got an opportunity to save money, or you're running your own special, or your team's running a special, or you've got an opportunity event to share with them. new information, value, try to add that value. The other thing I want to say is sometimes you need to take plexus out of it, and follow-ups need to not be plexus related at all. And I want, like, whenever you are following up, and it's more of a touch. You're just kind of keeping your hand on them. When you're following up and it's a non-plexus follow-up, it's a touch. You're paying attention to their life. You're knowing what's going on. You're watching their Facebook. You know they just got back from vacation. They just posted that they are looking for recipes because they're having a dinner party. Something like that. So then, hey, I just noticed, hey, you're looking for some great crock pot recipes, healthy crock pot recipes. I have a few. I wanted to share them with you. I'll send them a little bit later. I don't like to give it all at once, because they'll be like, okay, thanks, or they'll give you a thumbs up on your thing. You want them to say thank you, and then you come back with more information. The back and forth is going to help your engagement with them. So even though I might have everything right now to send them, I might say, okay, yeah, I just, I don't have, I'm going to send you more. I'm going to send you those recipes. I want to go grab them, and I don't have them handy. Okay. Then they say thank you and they come back. So you're strategic in that way too. But mostly this whole thing is you're looking for ways to be helpful. You're saying, I remember one of the speakers at the very first convention I ever went to in New Orleans, Suzanne Peterson said, ways to build relationships, trust and relationships, is to make small promises and keep them. So find ways to be helpful. Notice what's going on in their life. How can I be helpful for this person? They're on my prospect list. I've been kind of touching on them about plexus and asking them to take a look at the products and stuff, but I need to take plexus out of it for a moment. So how can I be helpful to this person? How can I add value to their life? Non-plexus related. So sometimes you just got to take plexus out of it, and that's a good thing to do. Okay, so those are my tips kind of on follow-up and the frequency, and just the theme is add value, and sometimes you got to take plexus out of it, but always try to add value to them. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is, I think this is kind of important to remember, and it's good information and good tips right now where we currently are. So we have this special about to end today, and we're going into December to Christmas. And the reality of that is, if people did not jump off the fence for this special, they're probably not going to. You may have a few, and I'm not saying like totally stop your IPA, but if they didn't get off the fence now, they're probably not going to do it in December. Most of them won't, okay? So if you've an hour of power hour to work your business, or you are trying to be most efficient with your time, this is where I want you to kind of maybe shift some of your thinking of how to prep yourself for a great January. So when I talked about the follow-up and the message that don't give all your information, kind of try to go back and forth, you're trying to open those conversations. I learned this. I saw this in complete, it like proved it to me that this was right last week. The theme of what I'm going to talk to you about now is being very, very intentional on engaging with your audience, expanding your audience, because when January rolls around and you're posting about new ways to get healthy, about, trim up in the new year, people's mindset is going to be there. I see JC Lewis, she's on the treadmill. She's already doing it, and she's getting her thing going. But you know what? That's where most people's mindset is going to be on January 1st. And you want to expand that audience so that when you're posting about health and making a change, they are going to think of you. Okay? So be very, very intentional about growing that audience and engaging and being just connecting this month. Just super intentional on connection. And ways that I'm doing it and ways that I recommend, and you probably already heard this, but a couple of things is to go and find Facebook groups that you're already naturally a part of, right? I found I finally found, I'd been looking for them, but the Disney groups for the 2 Disney cruises that we have coming up. We're going in February, and then we're going again in July for this amazing Plexus one, the European cruise. So I finally found the groups, and I have spent a lot of time paying attention to what people are posting, engaging on those comments, being helpful, asking questions. And I've already added like 8 Facebook friends in just 1 week, and from engaging with people and feeling like, okay, I've engaged with them in this moment. Right now, I'm sending them a friend request so that I'm not going to send it to them tomorrow. They'll be like, who the heck's Jenn Hawkins? I'm sending it right now because we were just going back and forth on commenting. And one of them is in Canada, and I'm trying to meet new people in Canada, right? Because next year a lot of the red tape in our handcuffs are going to be gone to growing our business in Canada. I'm like, sweet, she's from Toronto. Score, because I'm not going to Canada anytime soon, so I don't know when I'm going to meet people from Canada. But these Facebook groups are a good way to expand your audience. US, Canada, and join the groups. Be very creative about, like, what do I really love? What am I genuinely interested in? Where do I naturally belong? What groups if I wasn't trying to grow my business, what groups do I belong in anyway? And then go in, and these groups have rules. You can't go in and post about Plexus. You all know that. But it's not about that. It's about being engaging, being connecting, being helpful, and then bringing them and growing your Facebook audience from people that you would never have met otherwise, okay? So be intentional on that. If you can grow your Facebook audience so that in the new year, they're seeing Plexus posts, and if they don't know anyone else doing Plexus, guess what? They're going to come to you. So that's one thing that you should be doing. The other thing is think about your current Facebook list, and you've got your Frank's list, and let's say you have 100 people that are on your Frank's list that are on your Facebook account, and you've kind of either wanted to introduce them to Plexus directly, or you already have and you're talking to them. This is what I started doing, and I dreaded it, and I procrastinated it for so long because I have so many Facebook friends right now, and most of them are Plexus people. So when I open my news feed right now, and this may not be this way for you, but my feed is mostly Plexus posts. And I wasn't even seeing my non-Plexus audience of what they're posting, so I can be engaging with them. So I created myself a list, and I'm just going to, as I see people, as I scroll through a little bit of my friends today, I need to add them to my friends list. So you do this. I didn't do this on my phone. I did it on a real computer. But when you're on your main page and you scroll down and you're underneath your groups, there's like extras or something like that. And it's where there's a thing called friend lists. Click there. Then you can name your friends list and start adding people to your friends list. Then when you click friends list and you choose which one you want, you're isolating just those people in your feed. And really quickly, in like 10 minutes, you can go through and comment and like and engage with those people without getting down a rabbit trail with the Plexus posts and everything like that. You can, really quick, you can be super intentional engaging with those people, those non-Plexus people. And it's super important because if you're not engaging with them, so I hadn't been engaging with them because I wasn't seeing them in my newsfeed. I had to think, okay, who do I need to go engage with, and go find them. Then I'd go down a rabbit trail. But and I wasn't engaging with them, which means I wasn't seeing their posts, and they aren't seeing mine. So now I've got a friends list of all and I've named it non-Plexus, and I will hammer through some engagement, because when I'm engaging with them and they're going back and we're going back and forth, they're going to start seeing my stuff in their newsfeed because it tells Facebook, hey, we're really friends. And then there's one more step that you can do to be super intentional as well. But I wanted to give you the example of with the Disney. One of the girls I was engaging with back and forth in this Disney group, this cruise group, we were commenting back and forth, and I said, okay, I can friend request her and send her a private message now. Send her a friend request. She accepted it right away. Now we're messaging back and forth, just took it off the group. And I hadn't done anything. I hadn't put her on a friends list. I hadn't done what I'm going to tell you next, which you probably already know of, but it's been very helpful for me. I hadn't done any of that yet, but everything she posts had priority in my newsfeed. Well, that tells me if I've done nothing, I haven't added her to a list, and I haven't made her a favorite or anything, then she's seeing my stuff too. And that's my goal. Okay. So the more engagement you have with someone, the more priority you're going to have in their newsfeed. So that's why I want you to be just super intentional this month, isolating your non-plexus people and being very intentional about connecting with them, commenting, liking, not just liking, commenting, and then try to take things to private messages too. Hey, I saw you posted this. I'd love to send you some tips on that or whatever. Or I just went through that. I got to share with you my experience. Maybe you can learn from my mistakes or whatever that is. So the other thing that you can do beyond the friends list, and so I've done this with like my hottest prospects, like the ones that I don't want to have to remember to go into my friends list. Oh shoot, I missed something. When I pop up my newsfeed, I want them to have priority. So these are my hottest prospects. I have on their profile, it says following. If you click that down, you select see first. And that doesn't mean you have priority in their newsfeed, but you have asked for them to see them first in your newsfeed, so you can be super intentional with them. So you have a list for lots of people that you want to engage with, and then make see first like the ones that you are just honing in on this month. I had she's on Vicki Brown's team, so kind of a sideline to some of you guys. Went to lunch with some of them in Nashville, and one of the Amy, I think that's her name, and she was telling me that she takes about 5 people a month, and she's honing in, and she's being super intentional and engaging with 5 people, and so that she's really bumping up her visibility with those people who are her hot prospects. So I love that. Just it's all about intention, right? Our whole intention is like my new word. Everything comes back to intention. The time we spend with this time we spend with our family needs to be very intentional and present, and we're purposeful in that. So intention is my new word. Anyways, okay. I think that's all I have for 11 o'clock. I do want to tell you, and I know I only see a few faces, and some of you have your videos muted and stuff, but I would love to see, I know there's a lot of you in Texas. If you are going to be at the Dallas Super Saturday with a booty in a seat, I want to hear from you or see a wave.
Hey, speaking of that, I was going to ask you to do this anyways. Would you give a little spill on why people should be at Live Super Saturday? We want people, if possible, to be at Super Saturday. Yeah. So will you talk about that for a second?
There's absolutely no match for having your rear in the seat at the live event. I mean, there's just not. It's like trying to watch convention unfold on Facebook. You can kind of see what's happening. Now the live feed is going to be really cool, but if you're trying to decide, do I do live feed or do I go because you are able to go, then you go. There's no match for it to be there in person. And it's really hard to explain. But think about it this way. if you have a favorite team or a favorite concert, a favorite, like Garth Brooks, watching Garth Brooks on TV, a concert of his, even as big as your screen is, will never match being there and feeling the music and feeling the vibe and feeling the excitement. There's just come on. Now, if you just can't do it geographically or for whatever reason, you really can't do it, please don't miss the broadcast. And if you're doing a broadcast and you have people with you and geographically it's not going to work, get together so you can still have some energy and some excitement in the room with you. If you try to watch it at your home in the computer and you're by yourself, you won't get the energy that you're going to get from being in community and experiencing it together. The training's going to be awesome, and I'll be in Memphis. Kristen and Amber Miller. Yes, it'll be awesome. The energy gets me every time. Yeah, y'all get it. Y'all know.
Well, I will say this. Like, I remember my very first one. I was like, coming into this business, we really, I wasn't going to work this business. And so when people were like, oh, you need to go to a meeting, I'm like, oh, whatever. Because that wasn't my mindset. But I'm telling you, building your belief, meeting sidelines, seeing what this company truly is about, you can't replace that. And so even if you have to drive, I know there are lots of people driving 5-6 hours to get to these, getting live, you just can't substitute it for sure. And I know that there's reasons why people can't, but please try.
Yeah. It'll be worth it. You will not regret making the sacrifices needed to make to get in there in person. And you will. Seeing everybody they're doing it. If they can do it, I can do it. I'm not a good speaker. You're going to see those of you in Dallas, you're going to be like, gosh, she fumbles all of her words all the time. If she can do it, she can go double diamond. I can do it too. And it's not, you will see all the people around you, and you will draw a brand new line. And if you need a booty kick, this is your booty kick. It's where people decide, I'm doing this. And it's a bigger event than convention, and you don't want to miss it.
It's going to be awesome. It is. Do you want to, Regina, the Super Saturday, the part that's live stream is not for prospects. It's just for ambassadors. So I don't know that would be an issue. Just carpool with your team. I really do believe, getting there is so important. But I also want to say, if you are doing a live stream with your team, make sure that every single person registers that's going to be at that live stream, because there's an incentive attached to that ticket. And so everyone needs to register no matter how they're doing it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good important piece. Don't just go to your friend's house and not register.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Jenn?
I'm reading your comments. San Jose. Orlando.
It's going to be fun. Ariele, do you have anything?
No, I'll be at Dallas, so I'll be sure to look for Jenn and whoever's on our team, Beth team, and get a big picture with her. So I'm letting her know right now. So.
Yeah, so everybody look for Ariele. I'll be in Utah, so if you're in Utah, come see me for sure. For sure. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, then we will wrap this up. But thank y'all all so much for being on today, and just patience and positivity for sure, guys. We've got this. We're an amazing time in our company. So go through the day with happy thoughts is what I tell my little ones. Well, they're not little, but I'm like, have kindness and grace. That's our new saying for the day. So kindness and grace. All right, bye guys. Y'all have a good day.
Bye y'all.
Thanks,
Bye.
Jenn.